What's happening, guys? Welcome along to another episode of 420 News. Guys, it's Wednesday, midweek. I hope everybody's doing really good out there. I'm not doing too bad myself, just finished an old college lecture and straight into the 420 News. Then it's been a nice, busy and productive day. So I hope that's been the same for all of you guys out there as well. See some comments coming in there as well. What's happening, Gary? I see Gary Youds out there, man. I hope to be seeing you soon, Gary. Hope the chilling rooms get to open up their doors, man. I'm really excited to travel over to Liverpool and get to experience all that the chilling rooms has to offer. And Archie, man, you're a fucking legend, man, with that €10 donation there, or $10 donation to get the show started. He says, let's get this 420 News rolling, figuratively and literally. Love from Sligo. So much love back to you there out in Sligo as well, Archie. Much appreciated for your support of the show today. Guys, I do have a bit of news to get through for you today, and I suppose just in line with what Archie just donated to the show, if you'd like to support the show, if you'd like to support the fight for cannabis legalisation in Ireland, don't forget you can sign up to the patreon.com, or you can make a donation in the form of Bitcoin through the link found on martinsworld.ie. I believe also maybe there's an ability to pay through PayPal through the link there, support the stream, that comes up on the post all the time. I must really learn a bit more about this stuff, really. But again, guys, all of your donations are generously received. I'm really grateful for them, and I certainly will be utilising it for the fight for cannabis legalisation. Again, as I say, I have been exploring trying to acquire a premises here in Cork for the purposes of holding the podcast, but also to bring together the cannabis community so we can better fight for cannabis legalisation in Ireland. Having a bit of difficulty securing that just because of the regulations, getting out and viewing places, and I suppose some people can be a bit held back as well about it, but hopefully we will get there very soon anyway, guys. So let's get stuck on into the news. What's happening, Kenny? I see Kenny's out there as well, man. Kenny's saying, hi up, Boyle. Loads done today too, all while highly medicated. One love. There you go, guys. Cannabis doesn't hold you back at all. Cannabis doesn't make you motivated. I see a lot of incredibly motivated people out there who are motivated by cannabis, funny enough. Yeah, well done everybody out there who's been fighting for cannabis legalisation anyway. And guys, I suppose in line with that as well, cannabis legalisation and the people fighting for it. The first bit of news today is just an update on what I was talking about yesterday, guys. So if you didn't see yesterday's broadcast, go back and check it out, where I have an update there on what is a 32 county protest I'm hoping to achieve here in Ireland on the 20th of April, which is Tuesday, just 2 weeks yesterday. So we've less than 14 days, like 13 days today, I suppose, to prepare for this. But again, guys, just to go back over what I said yesterday, no protest, too big, too small. Literally, if you're one person and you want to go down into your town, village, wherever it might be, and you hold up a placard and it says "Legalise cannabis, free the weed. We are not we're not criminals. Let our people grow." You choose the phrase that you would like to show on your placard. You choose your style of protest. Literally, if it's you and you want to go down into the town square and you just want to spark up a blunt down there and record the affair while stating your case as to why you're holding that kind of a protest, go for it. Let me know that you're doing it, most importantly, so I can knock your county off the list to say that there's another county out there that's going to be supporting the fight for cannabis legalisation. I would like to make this an all-island affair. Every county in the island not to be excluded, because this is to lift the prohibition, to liberate the cannabis plant on this island, not in Ireland, but just on this island in general, and we'll go onwards from there then and tackle it on the global level, to liberate the plant globally after we achieve it on this island. So there you go, guys. If there's anybody out there who would like to get involved in this, make yourself known. As I say, I would hope to have multiple protests in each and every county, not just one, multiple. So again, as I say, in Cork, it's a very big county. Let's have one in the city, let's have one in Bandon, let's have one in Bantry, let's have one in Middleton, let's have one in Youghal. Do you know what I mean? Let's have as many as possible. The aim of the day is just to have as many protests as possible right across the island of Ireland. So again, guys, get in touch if you would like to support this, if you would like to host your own local event. And much respect there again to the guys over at Patients for Safe Access Ireland for helping out with this and for putting together this Fantastic old poster. I'm not that creative at all with posters. You seen my one there with the Cannabis Liberation Ireland event. Like some people over on Reddit said, it's like a child made it, and yeah, I was kind of pleased with that. At least I didn't say like it was made by, I don't know. I won't even say what I was thinking of saying, but look. Nice one again for the Patients for Safe Access anyway, guys. And I suppose just as well to highlight another event that is going on tomorrow evening, guys. It's the Cannabis DeStigmatized, Making the Case for Cannabis Social Clubs in Ireland. And that's an event that's hosted by the Irish Canna Clinic. I have an old poster here for this. So there you go. There's the poster for that. You'll find this event over on Facebook. It's happening tomorrow evening, guys, at 7:30. So do definitely put that into your schedule if you're not already busy. It's one not to be missed. You'll get to hear from Anna Afuero and also Patty Amaget. And they'll be speaking about the cannabis social clubs in Spain. Patty Amaget is the president of the Cannabis Social Clubs, a founder of the CATFAC. I can't remember what that abbreviation stands for. And also then you have Anna Afuero, who is the executive the executive committee of the NCOD and co-founder of MCC. So you get to hear these great and wonderful people talking about cannabis and how we could put in place a policy or a model, I suppose, really of cannabis social clubs that will help deliver cannabis to people who would need it for whatever reasons, whether it be recreational or medical. Here is a very good answer to that. And if you want to learn more about that, guys, you can head over to the Irish Canna Clinic website. I believe I have this prepared for you here so you can see this. Boom, I'll just move this photo. So there you can see the Irish Canna Clinic's website. If you head on over there, it's irishcannaclinic.ie, and you'll be able to find past events up there as well. So they have videos here hosting from past events that they've held, and you'll also find some information up there on Stephen, who is the founder of the Irish Canna Clinic. Stephen Garland, who was a guest on the podcast in the past, so you might be aware of Stephen Garland. He suffers with multiple sclerosis, and he uses cannabis for medical reasons, and he established the Irish Canna Clinic to help further the understanding of the medical uses of cannabis for patients. So he's hosting this event, so you head over to the Irish Canna Clinic and you'll be able to click the book now and book your space for what is a free event. You just book it through Eventbrite and you'll be emailed a link to the event tomorrow evening at 7:30. And again, you'll be able to learn about cannabis social clubs and what that means in Europe. And I suppose really, and that ties into the next headline again, each one feeding into the next, because in Ireland we recently had an urgent warning issued over zombie drug as a number of young Irish people were recently hospitalised. And this isn't due to cannabis at all. No, this is due to cannabis prohibition, because these young people were exposed to adulterated cannabis cartridges. You know, this was supposed to be a vapable form of cannabis, but instead actually what they got was a synthetic chemical in there that mimics the cannabis molecules, synthetic cannabinoids, if you don't know what I'm on about. But these chemicals, I talk about it time and time again, they're thousands of times more potent than the THC molecule, which they're mimicking. And they're highly dangerous as well, because we don't know the effects of them, basically. They're only after being newly created in a lab, again, to resemble or mimic the effects of cannabis. And what they do is, it's unknown really, and they get sold then as this legal high, as was known for quite a while. And once the new psychoactive substances bill, I believe it was called, came into effect, now then these substances found their way onto the black market, where cannabis products have been adulterated with them, from cannabis herb actually being sprayed with this stuff, to also these vape cartridges now being found where the synthetic cannabinoids they're so easy just to put into these vape cartridges, and they're sold down in the streets to kids, like, for fuck's sake, like, really, like, you know, if we were to have in place something like the cannabis social clubs similar to what they have in Spain, kids can't get access to this stuff, like, and at least if they do, it's somewhat quality assured, because it's coming from an association, and the association doesn't want to supply its members with contaminated products. No, they wouldn't do that. But over here in Ireland, where it's in the control of criminals, well, these criminals don't care about their customers, they really don't. It's about making money now, and they don't really care about tomorrow. They don't care about a month's time. They don't care about the health of their consumers, whether they enjoy the product or not, or whether if they'll even come back, whether if they live to survive the experience. These people don't have the best interests of the consumers at heart, whereas the associations do. So again, this is all because of cannabis prohibition, and there you go, like dirty rat poison bastards selling Mamba. That's pretty much the stuff, like the Mamba, whatever it is, K2, U116, or whatever the names they put on these synthetic chemicals created in a lab to mimic the effects of cannabis. If people were able to just get cannabis, well, why would you want to get access to something that can mimic the effects of it? And you can have the real thing. It's a no-brainer. Like we just sort this stuff out, sort out the regulations, and we can reduce the effects of this stuff. Like it's just sickening that this stuff is still going on, And these people up there, then, like this is an incident that unfolded above in the north of Ireland. But again, like it could very easily happen down here, that we have an imaginary border. Like this stuff that doesn't have any borders really. Like cannabis is just sold freely everywhere, despite what the prohibitionists might want you to believe about the effectiveness of their policies. Their policies basically put our kids in danger. They destroy our communities. They empower criminal gangs to make millions every year, and to undermine the work then of our authorities, because they're basically able to hire out police. Do you know what I mean? Like there's criminals out there, they make hundreds of thousands of euros every week. Or Gardaí. A guard, like if a criminal out there was to just put 1 week's takings, 1 week's profits to hiring a Gardaí, he could probably hire a multiple Gardaí. Our Gardaí get paid probably about maybe 40, 50, 60,000 a year, like depending on what ranking they're in. If a criminal is earning like upwards of 100, 200,000 a week from his trade, 1 week's taking could easily hire a guard, because like if that guard is only getting paid 50 grand for the year, and a criminal organisation comes along and said, hey, come here, I'll give you another 50 grand there. Look, if you let this stuff go, and not only will I give you 50 grand, but I'll also give you some names along the way of people you can go and bust. The competition, or maybe people who are falling into the bad books of the drug gangs. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is crazy. Like the sooner we end this, the fucking better, because kids are suffering, our communities are suffering, and meanwhile criminals are benefiting. Frank Fian out there then with his stupid head and him talking about a health-led approach. Like, Frank Fian, where does this fit into your health-led approach? Like, how are you protecting these kids now? New York has a step into legalization, and they'll have regulated products, and even at 21 will be the age limit at the point of purchase. Look at what they're doing to protect our kids, and what you're doing here. You talk about like a health-led approach, but yet, like, what the hell? Like a health-led approach where kids are getting access to synthetic cannabinoids. All because you want to prevent some adults enjoying what is a very beneficial substance, like, and a much better alternative to your fucking alcohol that you have no shame in promoting as, it's Irish, oh look at us, we're Irish, like, oh Murphy's, ha ha ha, drink a pint of Murphy's, or down an egg and a whiskey, like, oh it's Irish, like, oh isn't it great, like, fuck that, like no, I'm Irish, I like cannabis, like, I don't drink, and I don't bow down to that kind of stuff, like, so respect me, I'm here, like, respect me or expect my resistance. And that's that, like. And I suppose moving on from this then, in Mayo, there was 2 drug raids carried out in Mayo, and in one of those drug raids in County Mayo, above in Ballina, I believe, or no, sorry, in Westport, actually, in County Mayo. It resulted in 3 kids being arrested, and over almost €7,000 worth of cannabis and jellies being seized from them. So the cops carried out the raid on a house, and there was kids, juveniles, arrested. So there's files now being prepared, and these kids now are going to be sent through the juvenile the youth diversion program in relation to this matter. A large amount of money here, like, because again, like, 7 grand, let's say, almost 7 grand. Let's just say the kids paid 4 or 5 grand for it. I don't know, maybe even 2 grand. Like, but these kids now owe 2 grand to somebody. Like that's a large amount of money that they now owe to somebody, and they're going through the juvenile youth diversion program. But really, like, that's going to do nothing to help them, because when they're back on the streets, when they're exposed to these criminals again, which they will be, the criminals are going to want their money. And how are they going to get that from them kids? Do you know, the kids are going to have to do favours from. I would hope it's not sexual fucking favours. Like, it's more than likely just going to be, come here, store this down in your gaff there. Like, mind these drugs there for me. Here's a package. Look, just mind it. Don't ask any questions. Like, and next we'll be hearing a story then as to how some 16, 17-year-old gets caught with fucking 100 grand's worth of heroin. And we wonder why then. Like, and it was because the cops actually took a pile of cannabis from the kids and let them in debt now to the criminal organisations. Again, prohibition, like destroying the lives of young people out there, like doing the complete opposite of what it's set in place to do, which is to protect us and protect our communities, protect our kids. It achieves the complete opposite. It empowers criminal organisations to do just this, to give drugs to kids, give potentially adulterated substances. These jellies, like, are they actually cannabis jellies? Or again, is it more that synthetic shit that we were just talking about a few seconds ago? We don't know. And the cops aren't even going to test this, and they're not going to give that information back out to people. Why? Because the cops are scumbags as well. All they care about is their case numbers. They care about the statistics. They care about, that's it, like, you know, caring about climbing up the ranks of their career. But they really don't care about our communities at all. Like, you know, the communities, the people that they swear an oath to protect. They don't care about that at all, really. Like, at the end of the day, it's all about their pay. It's about their jobs. And they don't really care about what is actually right. That's for people like me. That's for people like you out there in communities to stand up and exercise your democratic rights and protest for what is right. Because what's going on currently is completely wrong. It's way out of order now currently, and it's only going to get worse the longer we allow it to continue. So again, join me April 20th, right across the island of Ireland. Even if you do not use cannabis, guys, you are affected by our drug policies. You might someday have kids who are going to be potentially recruited by these drug dealers. Get out there and do something about it today, before it's too late, guys, really, like, because this has been going on for too long, like, way, way too long. Guys, nice one for all your comments there as well. I see so many comments coming in there, guys. It's amazing to see such a big audience out there again today. Like, over 50 of you right now tune into the show. Like, it really goes to show that there is a desire out there for this. Like, if I can get 50 people to come and watch this show, like, that's probably more than what RT can get to watch some of their fucking shows, like, in fairness. Like, so thanks very much to each and every one of you tuned in right now, guys. I really do appreciate all of the support you give to the show. Some of your comments there coming in. Donna McGrath saying the most natural medicine. Every time I ask the doctor, they tell me it's way out there. That's bollocks. Like, when you talk to your doctors, like, they should be helping you benefit from this plant, because it is certainly beneficial. And it's unfortunate the doctors aren't being educated, and they're not having their hands freed up in order to work with people like yourself, who ask them about it. They're afraid, again, like, suppose when the doctors are involved, like, they're afraid of their career because they might lose their medical license if they start working with patients with this unlicensed medicine. And that's the big issue there for doctors currently. I think a lot of them are fearful they might lose their license to practice medicine in this country if they're starting to recommend cannabis to their patients, or entertaining the idea of their patients using cannabis when the patient talks to it. No, there's not many doctors out there want to be the cannabis doctor, if you will, you know. And it's unfortunate that it's that way. Irish Wanderer, he's saying, time to see what the poor cunts bit the bullet for this week. So Pods, he's saying there's plenty of unused pubs that can be turned into cannabis clubs in the next few years. 100%, man. There's so many vacant properties out there right now that could be used for facilitating the cannabis market, and it's a shame. So many buildings just being left to go to ruin, literally being allowed to dilapidate over time because of vacancies. And basically we could create this market that could fill these buildings and brighten up the streets of our cities and towns and villages right across the island of Ireland, because it certainly will be, once cannabis is legalised, like, it's certainly going to be something much like coffee. You can't go into any town, village now or anything like that where there's not a cafe that has coffee, or there's not a pub either. Like, you know, I think that's going to be cannabis in time to come, that it's going to be there, whether it be within the cafes, like that's how it's incorporated in. I don't know, but I do think there's going to be a time where, much like pubs and kind of cafes, there'll be no village in Ireland without one. That's just my opinion anyway. Like, I don't know. I've been smoking too much wacky today. Bitcoin as power is saying, yeah, in prisons. Great idea of the pods there. 100% guys. Irish Wanderer as well is saying, I would street protest here, but the guards would kick the fuck out of you. Man, don't be afraid of the cops, man. Don't literally go out there, hold your protest, man. Get your camera, have somebody there to record your protest. Like, spark up your blunt in the middle of the city, say your few words. Like, I think a good idea is hold a 4-minute, 20-second protest if you're worried at all. Go down into the middle of your town, hold up your banner, stay there for 4 minutes, 20 seconds, record it, and go on away again. Bring a music player with you, an old radio or something like that, an old ghetto blaster, and blast out a bit of Bob Marley. That's my tune of choice anyway for a protest. Get up, stand up. Like, guys, you can't pick a better tune. Like, get up and stand up for your rights. Like, so said by the legend himself, like. And Bitcoin as power is saying, Howard Marks said in UCC that our prisons will be used for grows once it's legal. That's not a bad idea, actually, man. Even Cork Prison there, the old one that's left idle up there, they tried to turn it into a tourist centre, but certainly I think there's more potential there for it to be used as a cannabis production facility. All of those separate cells for all the individual strains. Because there's a lot of cells up there anyway. Yeah, it's certainly an idea to be looked at. Bitcoin is power is also saying I prefer outdoors, but I also see no problem with that. Yeah, guys, keep your comments coming in there anyway, guys. I'll have a look through a few more of them. Shit in a bucket saying, I smoked synthetic once, thought I was turning into a slug, and shat everywhere. I thought my shit was my trail. Man, don't do that stuff. That's not good for you, man. But that's certainly a funny story. Yeah, keep your comments coming in there anyway, guys. I'm just looking through the last few of them there. Bitcoin as power is just reminding people of weeding us. It's a test. They test for synthetic spice found in the vape cart up in Antrim back in February. They were the guys who tested for synthetic spice. Once it's on the island, then it's here. The UK Public Health are doing the work for the HSE. That's actually very true, man. Because we don't hear enough about it down here. Actually, the dangers of contaminated cannabis from the HSE, and it's unfortunate again, but that it is the community really that's doing the messaging down here in Ireland, and even the NHS up there in the north of Ireland. And while the shambo, the fact that we let inevitably consumed product be sold by criminals and not licensed facilitates is really confusing to me. 100%, man. It makes no sense at all. Geez, guys, there's so many comments coming in there. Bitcoin is power saying, someone once told me that Jim McCann's character is the same guy who owns the hemp company in Dublin. I never connected that, but wouldn't put it past them. The longest head shop running in Ireland. And that's an interesting one, all right. The longest running head shop in Ireland. Have they ever been raided, I wonder, like the hemp company above there? I don't know. Martin World, love the passion you've got for the plant and the community. Respect, brother. Nice one there, and that's coming in from WRT Gunner 43. Nice one for that. And Ken Green's also saying, don't forget to inform your doctors of the cannabis seminar this April 20th. That's right, guys. There's a cannabis seminar happening this April 20th, organised by the Irish Medicinal Cannabis Council. So head over to their pages there to find out more about that. Yeah, I'm going to get on with the news there, guys, because you've loads of comments coming in there, and I really do appreciate them, but I'll be here till next week if I keep on reading them, guys, so I'm much appreciating them all coming in. I'll get back to them there as we get close to the end of the show again. So the next bit of news there, guys, coming in from Dublin, there was €10,000 worth of cannabis and cocaine found again in a drugs raid in Dublin. Again, highlighting how prohibition puts these two things side by side, and it needn't be the case at all. But our Gardaí, they love to tweet about this stuff, man. They don't miss a beat. Like, again, this is how our Gardaí benefit from this stuff, as well as the statistics that they generate. They love to tweet about this stuff. They love to tweet about drugs more than the drug users, I think, at this stage. Like, I think I tweet a bit more about cannabis than them, but still, like, they're up there competing with me, man. They're giving me a run for my money, and the amount of content they put out in relation to cannabis and other drugs, and it's hard to keep up with them. But the Gardaí from Kilmainham and Kevin Street Garda stations have seized €10,000 worth of suspected cannabis and cocaine following searches on the Hubnard Road on Bluebell, County Dublin this morning, Wednesday, 7th April 2021. And that was shortly after 2 a.m. So this is an early morning raid as well, like not no pleasant thing to be woken up out of your bed by a bunch of fucking loud-mouthed Gardaí coming in. Hey, this is a raid, get down on the floor, drugs, do you know what I mean? Like, all you have is a bit of cannabis, right? A bit of cocaine there as well, like, but like the guards coming into what is like an incredibly dangerous environment because they could lose their lives, like, and it needn't be the case again. Again, all because of prohibition. It's a failed war on drugs. The drugs have won. They won a long time ago. We needn't put the lives of our Gardaí at risk anymore. We needn't put the lives of drug users at risk anymore. Why does our society need to carry this burden any longer? Like, prohibition is a fucking burden on our society, like, and we just need to drop it, man. It's a heavy weight that just needs to be shifted, like. Man, like the amount of money we spend every year in this, like the Gardaí involved in this, like the wage bill, like of the Gardaí, it's humongous. All that money could be put better, so much better use, like, you know, so much better use. Like, I put a tweet up there that came out from Tony Duff in there yesterday where there was a report from 2016, I believe, and it was that Gardaí are only able to keep like 3% of the heroin from the streets. 3%. So 97% of the drugs effectively that were coming into the country made it to the streets that year. And I think that was a UN report as well that came from where they estimated that there was 960 kilos of pure heroin imported into Ireland, whether that be the island of Ireland or whether it be into the Republic of Ireland. I can't remember now, but an enormous amount, and only 3% of it was stopped. That's crazy, like, you know, end it, like, just end it altogether, like, and provide legal safe avenue for drug users to get access to their drugs and just chop the criminals out of it. We don't need criminals to be providing providing these drugs to the drug users. It's so silly, like, and in other news and other places in County Kerry, another €10,000 worth of drugs, this time just €10,000 worth of cannabis, was seized at a checkpoint. And again, this checkpoint was set up because of COVID. The guards were supposed to be down there keeping us safe from COVID, but instead they end up searching a young fella and finding him with a bit of cannabis on him and a stash of cash there as well in this too. So in this, the Gardaí stopped a car there late last night on an operation, again part of the COVID Operation Fanocht. And this was at 8 p.m. yesterday evening, and after speaking to the man, they found €10,000 worth of cannabis herb in his possession. The driver, aged in his 30s, was arrested at the scene and brought to the Clarny Garda station, and he was detained under the Drugs Trafficking Act. Later on, a follow-up of his house then found €3,600 in cash. The man has since been charged and is due to appear in the Clarny District Court on, get this, what date? April 20th. What a pity for that man. He's in court on April 20th. The day he should be out there celebrating cannabis, man. It's such a pity. So I'll certainly have you in my thoughts on that day out there, whoever you might be. Like, you needn't suffer, man. We're all in this together. Like, while some people would try to distance themselves from you because, oh, you're a drug dealer, he had a load of cannabis. Like, man, somebody has to provide this cannabis. Like, you're doing a service to our community out there, providing this cannabis. Like, so fair play to you. Like, and I'm sorry you got caught with it. Like, with €10,000 worth. Like, you know, and I hope you don't have to suffer a lengthy jail sentence. I hope you get a slap in the wrist, like. But just know this: if you are out there, if anybody knows this individual, let them know. I do support them, and you know, my condolences to you. You don't need to suffer alone in this. Like, if you want to come on here and get your word out and utilize Martin's World, I would gladly have you, like, because as I say, you're doing a service to the community. Somebody has to sell the cannabis to the cannabis consumers out there. And so I'm not going to turn my back on the likes of you anyway, not at this point. So yeah, if you're out there, get in touch, man. I would like to support you in whatever way I can. And also then as well, in other news out there, there was €20,000 worth of Cannabis seized in Galway, and I'll pop this up there now for you. Over in Galway, there was another €20,000 worth of cannabis seized over there, and there's the cannabis pictured for you. This was seized in Galway after the Gardaí again carried out a raid on a house. And this was in the Knockcarra area of Galway City after 6:30 there yesterday evening. During the course of the search, they uncovered the suspected cannabis, which again is going to be sent to Forensic Science Ireland. And I was doing a little bit of research into Forensic Science Ireland. Like, you know, like they cost us like somewhere in the region of 5 to 6 million every year, like just the Forensic Science Ireland. Like, and I'd imagine like a large proportion of their time is spent analysing drug samples. Like, I would wonder, like, really, like, how much of Forensic Science Ireland is their time spent, let's say, doing drugs, like in analysing drugs, or analysing rape kits. Let's just say, like, you know, and how many rape kits then? Like where's the priority there? Like, if there's a rape kit comes in, like, and there's drugs come in, like, is there a priority? Like, does the rape kit get sent in like sooner? And it's like, no, that one has to be sent in straight away, like, because there's a real victim involved in this. Like, never mind the drugs. Like, I would hope that's the case. Like, or for other crimes, you know, other crimes involved in, I don't know, murder or other things there, like, where there's forensic science needs to be involved, like, you know. I really wonder, like, how much drugs impacts upon the other work of the Forensic Science Ireland, and how much of the bill then is, like, as I said, the 5 or 6 million that they take every year from taxpayers is spent on analysing these drug samples, like. But again, in this case here anyway, above in Galway, one man in his 30s was arrested at the scene, but he's since been released without charge, and a file has now been prepared for the DPP, and Gardaí say investigations are ongoing. So again, like this man is such a criminal that they were able to they had to go in O'Reilly's house, take his product off him, but now he's free to go. That makes so much sense, like. That makes so much sense. Like, why expend so much resources, really? Like, if the guy is so dangerous that you're able to leave him go after you process him, he's fine, like, you know. Because, like, if he goes back out, like, what's to say, like, he's not gone back out and just got more cannabis, like. He most likely is. I know myself, any time I've ever been stopped and searched by the guards, all I wanted afterwards was a fucking joint. Because you would be up to here, man. Your blood pressure is just going through the roof. Your stress levels are just off the charts, like. You know, for me at times, like, the suicidal tendency, like, the risk of suicide is there, like, because of the mistreatment that you experience at the hands of the people who are supposed to protect you. Like, there was one time, actually, after I got a summons in the door for a court appearance for cannabis, it drove me mad, and I left my house because my mum and dad were having a go at me and stuff, and I was just like, I just had enough of it, and I walked out the door, and I walked down to the Garda station, and I kind of had a bit of a go at the guard at the counter, and not in a bad way. Like, I just demanded to see the guard at that Garda station who had summoned me, and I was like, I'm here now, like, come on, just arrest me, do what you want to do now, like, and she wasn't able to satisfy my request, I suppose. So I said, like, you know what? I goes, I'm going to fuck myself into the river. I goes, I'm going to go down there and fuck myself into the river. I goes, because maybe you'd be happier than one less criminal fee to deal with, like. And you know what the guard said to me? Like, you know what she actually said to me? And it was a woman, guard I was dealing with at the counter this time. She goes, well, if you go do that, just make sure you go across the bridge and jump in from the other side so we don't have to deal with it. Like, imagine that. Like this is that was the response I got from the guard for expressing that I was experiencing suicidal thoughts, like, because of the mistreatment of myself by the Gardaí. They don't give a shit about us. Like, they really don't give a shit about us at all. Like, and you know, like, that's the reason why I'm here. This is the reason why I'm so passionate. This is the reason why I'm so fucking determined to get the support of the public out there, because I have no faith in the authorities. I have no faith in the political establishment as it is. Like, if we are to wait in the government to legalise this, like, man, we're going to be waiting a long time. I know they say 4 or 5 years, but really, like, no, that's just to keep you in hopes of that they might do it in 4 or 5 years. No, like, it really, if we were to wait in them 4 or 5 years, it's actually going to be about 10 or 15 years. What we might get in 4 or 5 years will be the ability for some private company to come and sell it to you, but you'll still be a criminal if you grow it yourself at home. That's not a win in my eyes. That's not what I'm fighting for. Fuck to that. Like, no, people get up and fight for your right. Get out there in 420 and protest for your right to grow this plant. We are not criminals. Let our people grow. Like, Jesus, like, Don't wait around for the politicians to do it, because you'll be sad. You'll be sad and you'll be sorry for what will come. But look, if you wait for them, you'll deserve what you get, really. Like, I'll be doing my part anyway, fighting for a form of policy that will actually reflect the needs and the desires of our community, and one that will come in a more expedient manner than the one that we're being told to wait for 4 or 5 fucking years. Fuck that. Literally, like, the government could, at the stroke of a pen, that's all it's going to need. They could decriminalise cannabis. They could remove cannabis from the Misuse of Drugs Act at the stroke of a pen. That's all it's going to need. That's all that could be done overnight. That could be done overnight. How they regulate it then afterwards, like that's something that will take a bit of time. But for them, at the stroke of a pen, they could literally give us the ability to grow this plant out our back garden for our own uses, to form associations to produce this plant for our own personal uses where there's no profit involved. They could do that with a stroke of a pen. That could be done overnight. So bollocks to this stuff that is going to take time. No, the regulations as to how they're going to get taxes in it and all of that shit, that's going to take time. The decriminalisation of it, the allowance of us being able to grow this plant out our back gardens or in our homes, that could happen over fucking night. So it's up to us to get out there on the streets and demand it. Don't ask for it anymore. We have to demand it. And yeah, do you know, I just, the time for niceties is over. The time for niceties is over. Like in phone calls, emails. Oh, I'm very nice here. Oh, look at me. I'm very nice. No, fuck you. No, fuck you. The time for niceties is over. We've been nice for too long. Like, we have been, like. And this is why we haven't got what we wanted today. Like, that's why we haven't. We've been too fucking nice. Civil disobedience, guys. Get out there. Break some fucking laws. You know what I mean? If you want an omelette, you got to break some eggs. If you want the laws to change, you got to break some fucking laws. Like, do you know what I mean? Shout out to Martin Luther King, who I hope is up there looking down at me and is proud of me for carrying on his message in the way in which I do, because he certainly has inspired me to be the person I am today anyway. So I'll get on with the news, guys, because I'm ranting again a bit too much. And before I get on to the next headline, I just seen an old super chat coming in there, and it's going to pop up probably in the next couple of seconds there from Jamie Power out there. So much appreciated, Jamie, for that. And again, guys, I'm much appreciative of all the support that comes into the show. So again, keep it coming, guys. Much appreciated. So the next bit of news there, guys, for you, it is that Gardaí in Roscommon have seized €125,000 worth of cannabis in a grow house in the town of Boyle. So again, like here, what we have up on the photo, and there's a super chat popping up now. a bit of a delayed one there for that one, but Jamie says that I'm doing God's work. Fair play to me. Nice one, Jamie. Thanks very much for your support there for the show, man. It really is much appreciated. But hopefully someday what this show will amount to will be the legalization of this plant, so we can all grow and benefit from what is on the screen there now. A plant that's going to be destroyed by our Gardaí, and utilising taxpayers' money to destroy it as well. So this is the fine cannabis, like this is the dangerous plant that the Gardaí are out there protecting us from. Like this is potentially someone's medicine, like, you know, there's somebody out there now in crippling pain, like, you know, and this plant was going to bring them benefit, but now the avenue in which they were going to get it from has dried up. It's less resourceful because the Gardaí are out there now taking this off of the streets. But effectively, as I said, that they're taking away somebody's medicine. They shouldn't be proud of their actions anymore. When we know what we know about cannabis, we know what we know about the failings of the government, the failings of the medicinal cannabis access program. Do you know how many people have been excluded by the 3 conditions that they've included in it? They've excluded chronic pain. That's a sin. Chronic pain is the most sought after. It's the reason why cannabis is used for medicinal reasons. Like, it's the most common reason. Is chronic pain, and they excluded it. Shame on them people. Like, it really is. It's a shame. Like, and again, like, it's a shame that taxpayers' money is going to be utilised to destroy this plant here. And again, the Gardaí not missing a beat. They love to fucking tweet about this stuff. So again, the Gardaí have their tweet up there about this again. Really pisses me off. Like, you know, they're just trolling us in epic proportions, because you go on to any of these posts, any one of these posts, man, and the Gardaí are getting slated. There is a very, like, I would imagine it's like 95 to 1 or 99 to 1, sorry, like 99 comments against it versus one comment saying, well done to the Gardaí, well done to the, like you'll often see that, like, well done to the Gardaí, but it's probably just some troll account, like, looking for the people who are going to go and attack that person, and afterwards saying, oh, blah, 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 you know what I mean? Like, how is this good work? Like, the Gardaí are wasting their time, we should legalise, like that, I just see it to happen so often. Like, I'm just not even going to respond to their stuff anymore. I'm just trying to ignore it now at this stage. I'll take my little screenshots. I'll do my reporting on the 420 News, but I'm refusing to like, share or comment on any more of the posts of the Gardaí. Like, as much as I want to speak out against it, I think they like it. I think that's what they want. I think they want to drive their analytics up. There's somebody out there working for the Gardaí in their PR department who's getting paid to work their social media accounts, and they're going back at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, whenever it is, and they're saying, look at this, look at the interactions, it's up. Look, we've gotten 50,000 comments there this month. That we only got 20,000 last month. Oh, look how great I'm doing. Like, you know what I mean, guys? So just be wide of what you might be feeding into when you engage in this sort of stuff on social media. Like, it's just, that's my thinking of it anyway, and that's why I'm after stop posting and kind of sharing this stuff on the social media. But in this instance anyway, a man in his 50s was arrested, and this was on Monday after the Gardaí raided his house. The officers attached to the Longford and Roscommon Divisional Drugs Unit obtained a search warrant after receiving information concerning sale and supply of drugs in the town. During the search, Gardaí discovered a sophisticated grow house where 3 rooms had been adopted to cultivate cannabis plants, and investigating officers seized 55 plants at various stages of maturity, and 4 kilos of cannabis herb also seized. So the 4 kilos there of the cannabis herb were worth, Jesus, was that 80 grand? Like, so that's the bulk of the value. Whereas the 55 plants, they're only worth like €800 each. So I don't know, where does that kind of leave them? 40, like just over 40 grand worth of plants versus 80 grand worth of herb. But in actual fact, like those 55 plants, if they were grown well, which they look like they were, like, you know, looking at the image here on the screen, like that looks like a very bountiful harvest that person is going to have. So potentially getting maybe 3 or 4 ounces per plant, maybe more. Who knows? But like that 3 or 4 ounces then is actually worth, maybe, like, even if you go at the lower end of it, €300 an ounce, and you got 4 ounces of plant, that's 1,200. Like, the guards are actually undervaluing the plants in that. Like, but don't tell them. Crazy, like. But all of these now are going to be sent to the Forensic Science Ireland again, incurring more costs to the taxpayers out there. So guys, you know, even if you don't support cannabis legalization, if you're not a cannabis consumer, you're losing out on this, because your taxpayers' money is used for fighting a failed or on drugs. And it's putting young people in danger. And it really is, like, and I suppose I touched off a news headline before where there was a murderer involved in selling cannabis. But here I go again, and another very similar one where a drugs trade gilly caught running a cannabis delivery service during the pandemic has been convicted, or has a conviction for kidnap and torture of a friend. And this was a weird one. Basically, in this case, your man got caught with just over an ounce of cannabis. It was like €600 worth of cannabis. I think he got caught with about an ounce. But he's pleading guilty now, I believe, to sale and supply of cannabis. But when he was in court, it unfolded anyway that this guy actually had previous convictions where he was involved in the kidnapping of his friend and the murder of his friend with his father. So he's dead. I don't know what the backstory of this was, but what I got from the article is basically this young fella, anyway, when he was a young fella, he was coerced into kidnapping his friend and holding and torturing his friend with his dad, and ultimately his dad was trialed and charged for the murder of that friend. The son was charged with the murder too, but he appealed it and he got off with being an assailant or an accomplice or whatever it might have been in the case. But crazy to think again, like, John, that this individual is out there selling cannabis. Like, obviously, I don't know what the backstory is. Was he a victim of his father's crime? Was he somewhat mentally deranged? Again, it's dangerous, like, because if you're young fellas out there, like, if you have a young child out there of 15, 16, and they're somewhat curious about cannabis, do you want to meet this guy? Really? Do you want to meet this guy? Or do you want them to be able to go down and maybe, like Little Collins above there, like, queue up outside of Little Collins and wait for somebody like myself to walk by and say, here, sorry mister, would you mind going in there and get me a bag of weed? Well, yeah, will you go in and get me a 50 bag? Here's 20 quid there, go in and get me a gram, like, you know, like that, because that's what we do for alcohol. Like, that's what I did for alcohol. I queued up outside of the off license and I would ask like somebody, an adult going in, hey, come here, will you get us an Agan? Will you get us a couple of bottles? And at least I wasn't at risk then of fucking meeting somebody like this, like, you know. No, I could have been asking that guy to go in, but look, that's another story, like. But again, like, the dangers we expose people to because of prohibition. Like, I don't want to be meeting fucking murderers when I go out and buy my cannabis, like. Stop, like, and just remove this prohibition, like, so I can have some transparency as to who I'm going out there and meeting, like. I mean, we drive on, I suppose. We get on out of Ireland in this one. Is there any more to report on in this case? No, this guy, his name is Scott Knight, 47. Yeah, he didn't have any trappings of wealth. What happened? Yeah, the case was adjourned. So yeah, he wasn't sentenced anyway at all in this. But I'm just utilising it again to highlight the need for why we need regulation. Because again, if people are out there like this selling cannabis, like that, this isn't somebody I would like to even myself at my age, like, but never mind being a young fella. So in other news out there, guys, we move on and we'll head on over to London. So we head on over to London, where the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, he has promised to examine the benefits of decriminalising cannabis in England, or maybe in London, and this, I suppose, strategically being a time when he's facing an election, I believe. So he's made a promise basically that if he is re-elected, that on the 6th of May, he will put in place a commission, an independent commission that will examine the benefits that legalization or decriminalization of cannabis would bring to the area. It's estimated that the illegal drug trade in the UK is costing society £19 billion a year. 19 billion, like that's a huge amount of money, like, to be paying out, fighting what is a failed war on drugs, like, you know. So fair play, and pictured here is the Mayor of London, like, so fair play to him for speaking out and calling for this. Like, again, as I say, like, it might be just to do with his election, because it's no secret that this is a very popular thing at the moment. Supporting cannabis legalization certainly is going to get him the support of a lot of younger voters anyway. So maybe it's just an election ploy. I don't know. Because like he doesn't have any real powers, like, after this, like, you know. He can't change any laws, and he has been smashed down, I suppose, by Downing Street, by the Prime Minister Boris Johnson and his press secretary. But still, despite that, like, it will be a very beneficial thing, like, that if this independent commission is to come out and have very positive findings as to the benefits that the decriminalisation of cannabis would bring to London or to England, and having then the endorsement of the Mayor of London, like, that's certainly a very beneficial thing to the fight for cannabis legalisation. So it's one not to be turned away, although, like, the press secretary would believe that it's a complete waste of time. But it's not, as I say, like, this is a very worthwhile thing, and I hope he does get elected. Like, I don't know much about the guy or anything else about him, but just on this one issue, I really do hope he gets elected, and I hope this independent commission is commissioned, and I hope the findings are listened to. But in response to this, what's her name here? I have an image of her for you. Allegra Stanton. So this is her pictured here, and she hit out against the idea, and she's the press secretary for Boris Johnson, and when asked about the idea, she said that it would not make any difference, and the policy is controlled. Policy on controlled drugs is a matter for the UK government, and there are no plans to devolve this responsibility. The Prime Minister has spoken about this on many occasions. She goes on to say that illicit drugs destroy lives, and he has absolutely no intention of legalising cannabis, which is a harmful substance. So this is a complete bollocks, like, you know what I mean? Like, the NHS is prescribing cannabis now to patients. Like, the NHS, the National Health Service of the UK, is prescribing cannabis to people. How is it a harmful substance if it's bringing benefit to other people? Like that makes no sense. crazy to think, like, and like, are they not acknowledging the harmful policies? Like, the harms done by the drug policies are far greater than the harms done by cannabis. Like, so again, like, Allegra Stanton, like, she's just another one of these prohibitionists. Like, she's just going to argue what benefits her, and she's going to ignore all of the evidence. Like, that's what they're saying here. That if this independent commission comes back and says this is going to be the greatest thing since the sliced pan, legalizing cannabis is going to save millions of lives, like, let's say, they're going to ignore it. They don't care. Again, I just go back to say, they don't care about us. Like, there's this idea that the making drugs illegal was for the betterment of public health for society at large. It wasn't. It never was. Because if it was, like, they would have abandoned it not long after they put it in place, because they would have seen how counterproductive it was for those very goals that it was put in place for. Like, that was put in place for. Like, it wasn't. Like, I don't think it was. Like, you go back to your man Nixon's aid, like, and he says that it was actually just a strategic way in which they could target minorities within the population. Again, their minorities at the time were the black people and the people opposing the war. And here in Ireland, again, it's no different. It's a class issue. Over in England, it's a class issue. If you're wealthy enough to be able to afford a private prescription, you can get access to medical cannabis. If you can't, well, sorry, you have to go on the black market, or you have to fork out £30 there for Carly's amnesty card, the can card, and maybe the guards or the cops over there might show you some compassion and leave you off, and might even let you keep your cannabis, like, maybe. But it's something excluded only for the wealthy, really, like. So again, look, I hope that is going to have positive findings, because it will have impact over here in Ireland. You know, we will be able to take the findings of this independent commission, and we will be able to apply them to the Irish society too. So again, I do look forward to this. I hope he does get elected, and I hope that commission is put in place, because the findings will benefit the fight for cannabis legalization, despite what you want here, the old drug drinking coffee drinker there, like she doesn't judge that, like, you know, like the what she has in her hand there, the coffee cup, like, that's a drug. Fucking hypocrite. So we'll go from there, and we'll take a long old journey on over to Australia, guys. So over in Australia, the legalized cannabis party have had some success there. So there was election going on over in the Western Australian region, and that was on the 16th of March, I believe the election was held. But recently now, the people pictured here, Brian Walker and Sophia Mormond, they've both won seats now in the Western Australian Upper House for the legalised cannabis party. Absolutely amazing over there. Well done to them. And the legalised cannabis party in Western Australia, they believe that cannabis law reform does not have to be complicated, and that the grape theory forms the basis of how we will go about making the necessary reforms at a state level. So if you haven't ever heard of the grape theory, it's a very good one, actually, and I really like it after reading it on the legalised cannabis Western Australian Party's website. Excuse me. The grape theory goes as follows: treat cannabis like grapes. So you can grow as many grapes as you want with no license required. You can make many of those grapes as many of those grapes as you want into wine. Again, low license required. You can share that wine with your friends and your family. No license required. Again, like, you see that this is very good. I really like this. However, the moment you want to sell it, the moment you want to sell some of that wine, you are required a license and to show quality control and safety for human consumption, and you pay the appropriate fees. Guys, that's a no-brainer. Like, that's the best way in which we could regulate cannabis in Ireland. Regulate it like grapes. You need no license to grow it. You don't need no license to process it. You don't need no license to share it. But guess what? If you want to sell it, then you need a license. That's so fucking easy. Like, that's so sensible too, like, you know. But really, the big problem with this really is, if I can grow cannabis and I can share it with you, and I can share it with my friends, and there's no money exchanging hands there at all. Like, it's just a shared economy. There's money not being made. The taxes aren't being made. They're going to lose out in this, and this is the type of legalization I would like to see. This is the type of policy I would like to see. But it's not the one that the capitalists would like to see. It's not the one that our government would like to see, because they need to keep us from being able to grow this plant from ourselves in order to maximize the profits, the tax takings that they're going to get then afterwards when they sell it to us. Imagine that, like, you know. So again, the grape theory, if that's a new one to you guys out there, thanks to the Western Australian Party there for making me aware of it anyway. It's certainly one I heard of before, but it was very well spelled out on there again on their website. So, but well done to him again, actually, for winning the seats as well in Western Australia. I hope you're able to bring change about there in Australia. And it seems like a number of micro parties were the biggest winners in that election. So hopefully those micro parties can all work together and find a common ground on all of their issues, and be able to work together then to get their issues over the line and benefit their communities then that they're elected to represent. Like, so again, well done. Very positive news there in Australia from the legalized cannabis party over there. And we'll go on then over to New York, guys. Back to New York, where they passed a cannabis legalization bill for adult recreational use of cannabis last Tuesday. So again, well done to the guys in New York. But expanding upon that then, they go on further. They've now made it illegal for an employer to fire a person for based upon their cannabis use that happens outside of work. This is amazing. Like, this is great. So now an employer can no longer not hire a person based solely upon them testing positive for cannabis or disclosing that they use cannabis outside of work, except for two reasons. One, where it's required federally, or two, where the employer will be breaking a federal law if they were to hire a person that is a cannabis consumer or something like that. Again, like, just, you know, just the nitty gritty, the federal side of it, like, you know, it's probably in line with the White House firing some of their staff there not too long ago. That's probably what they're referring to in that regard, like when there's federal laws there around it. But again, like, you know, well done to New York for this. Like, you know, they're really paving the way. Like, so this is effective immediately as well. So this is after being inserted now into the New York Labour Laws Act, into Section 201D of that Act. It has prohibited New York employers from discriminating against employee based upon the employee's lawful outside of work, off-duty work activities. The Act amends the section of the Act to expressly include the use of cannabis in accordance with state law as a lawful outside of work activity. Therefore, except as described, as I mentioned earlier, when it's in breach of federal law, the Act prohibits employers from discriminating against employees based solely on the employee's legal use or possession of cannabis products while off-duty and outside of the workplace. So again, the Act also provides a private right of action for employees to sue their employee or employer for any alleged violation of the law. So again, like, amazing, like, consumers of cannabis are being protected again here in this, like, because we've been discriminated against for so long. Like, I myself, like, I have a conviction for cannabis use, and that's gonna exclude me from many jobs. That's discriminatory. I don't deserve that. My ability to do those jobs is not affected by my cannabis use. It's not, and it's utterly discrimination that they're allowed to do this. And there's no science, there's no reason to do it, and they acknowledge that in this. Like, they state that if an employer, like, if I was to test positive for cannabis while at work, well, then it's up to the employer. Actually, he has to prove that while I tested positive, I was also impaired to the level where it affected my work. And not only my work, but it also affected my ability to maintain a safe and effective workplace for other employees too. So the employer has to prove that. So, like, he can't just say, well, his eyes were red, or there was a smell of cannabis off him. Like, they can't just say that anymore. They actually have to prove that you were a danger to yourself and others around you, and that you were, like, off your face at work, I suppose, really. Like, that's what they'd have to prove. So again, like, a great day for cannabis consumers out there in New York. Because they're now afforded much more protections under the law, as they so rightly deserve it. Like, we all deserve protecting under the law, It's within our human rights, like that we shouldn't be targeted by the law unfairly. So well done to New York anyway in that. And we're almost getting to the end of the news now for today, guys. I have two more headlines to get through for you, and they're two positive headlines anyway, so it's only good news to come. So do bear with me on these ones. So the next bit of news, and it's coming. It's an interesting one actually. Wrigley's, the chewing gum company. They sold out there a few years ago to back in 2008. They sold their company to Mars, but the billionaire Bo Wigley. He says his cannabis company will be bigger than the family candy business, and talking about the chewing gum business. So again, Wrigley's, if you don't know, they're chewing gums. So the company sold back in 2008. But the son of the like, it's a family business, I suppose. The son now, and I was looking for a picture of him actually online, and I know I love me puns out there, or but this was an image of him that I found, and it was an unlikely partnership. So there you go. There's your little pun for the day. But an unlikely partnership where this ex-CEO, former president, and of the Wrigley company, Bo Wrigley, he's after setting up a cannabis company, and the cannabis company is called Parallel. That's the name of the company, and here are pictured some of his products now. Parallel began buying up some dispensaries going back in 2018, I believe he started. But I suppose before this, when he was first pitched the idea, Bo Wigley completely shot it down. He was like, "No, that's bollocks. Like, I'm not going to get into this." Like, I think what he actually responded to his investment manager was, "I don't like orange. Orange doesn't suit me." And what he was talking to was the orange jumpsuits. So he thought by investing in cannabis businesses that he was going to end up in prison. But after further investigation there anyway, he soon invested in Florida, where his first initial investment involved like over $100 million investment, where he bought out a number of cannabis dispensaries, not just in Florida, but also in other states, including Nevada, Oregon. There was also Boston included, or Massachusetts included in here. So he got straight into it, man, and he launched his brand, and he estimates now, after Mars sold for 23 billion in 2008, he reckons that he's going to be able to grow this company to be bigger than that, to be worth even more than that. So he reckons like that this Parallel cannabis company is going to be exceeding 23 billion in its net worth in time to come. Like, so he certainly has big ambitions there for the cannabis industry. But it makes sense, it makes sense because one place in which this company came out of, like they're based in Chicago, Illinois. That's where the Wrigley company was founded and built its legacy, I suppose, if you will. But now, only more recently, like he's after reinvesting back in there with a $100 million investment deal, where in Illinois. So in Illinois, geez, sorry, that's a bit of a tongue twister. In just 1 month, there was over 100 million in cannabis sales. Just 1 month, and that was in March. Crazy to think, like $100 million, like in recreational cannabis sales. Imagine what's been lost out there in Ireland, like in every month and every year that we don't legalise it. After the first year of adult cannabis use for recreational and medical uses, sales hit $1 billion. $1 billion, like, man, and in the first year of legalization in Illinois. Crazy, like, so, like, his ambitions are certainly not too optimistic, like, to grow the company to that size. The sales they're crazy, like, absolutely crazy, like, so. And then while all of this was going on, guys, there's still people in prison. There is still people in prison in America right now to this day for cannabis use. That's a crime. This guy out there, Bo Wigley, like, he's able to throw his money around and invest in companies, create all these products, sell it all, and he's only used cannabis once. He doesn't even shit about cannabis. He only cares about money. That's all he's in it for, is money. He doesn't care about cannabis consumers or the market. Like, he never did. He only ever got into it because he's seen the potential to make money. And he makes no secret in saying that either. Do we want to be supporting these guys? I don't. No, I certainly don't. I want to be supporting people like Martin O'Brien of Foxworthy Farms, people who actually are consumers of cannabis and passionate about the community of which they serve. Not this guy. He's only passionate about his investors. And this is what Ireland wants. This is the type of legalisation that Ireland will want. The type that will suit this guy, not the type that will suit this guy here, sitting before you and bringing these shows before to you all the time and risking prison. This guy was afraid of prison. I'm not. I am actually. I don't want to be locked up. I'm certainly afraid of prison. Don't get me wrong there. But am I afraid of standing? Like, I'm not going to let that fear stop me. That's what I'm saying, I suppose, really. So, guys, the final piece of news there for you, it is that the Michigan University has become the first to offer a cannabis chemistry scholarship. And again, why they're able to offer this cannabis chemistry scholarship is because of the legalization of cannabis industry. Because the legalization of the cannabis industry led to the development of the steadfast cannabis testing facilities. It's a private for-profit company, I suppose, that tests the cannabis of the market, the industry out there for adults. So they test cannabis, they make money in doing that, and then the money that they made, they actually gave some more of that money to the college to further the education, so that they can increase and improve upon the workforce, which is going to come and work in their industry afterwards. But they're able to do that with the money generated off of the sales of cannabis. So you have adults who use it for recreational and medical reasons. They go buy cannabis. That cannabis needs to be tested. Well, that cannabis gets tested by these guys. And the money that the consumers pay, well, a portion of that goes and pays these guys. Well, these guys make money. They generate profits. And at the end of the year, they're saying, hey, guys, we've fucking, I don't know, we've €100,000 left there, our dollars there, the extra that we've left. What'll we do with it? Let's give 50 grand there to the local college. Excellent. Do you know who's not doing that? Criminals. Do you know the Kinahans? Do you know the Hutches? Do you know all of those other, the Dundons and all of those other crime gangs that we had in Ireland? Did they once ever invest money back into the community? Like, did we have a Kinahan scholarship fund out there? Like, you know, so that there's some people, no, we don't, like, we don't, we never will either, like, you know, we'll only get that stuff if we legalise, regulate and end this fucking prohibition around this plant. We can have people like myself go out there, set up a cannabis business, whether I set up a cannabis grow business or a cannabis testing facility. I can then create jobs. I can then generate a revenue, a stream of income. I might even be lucky enough to actually have profits. And then I could turn around and say, what will I do with these profits? Well, I'll improve my community. I'm going to invest in a college. I'm going to put in place a scholarship. I'm going to make sure that somebody can be educated and they can learn about cannabis and how cannabis can benefit our community, how cannabis can benefit humans, animals, like, and just the planet overall. Like, you know, that's what I would love to do it. The Kinahans don't have that same interest. The criminal gangs out there don't have that same interest. Our government don't even have that same interest. Like, do you know what I mean? It's so fucking annoying. Like, it really is. Like, I see this stuff happening around the world, like, and the benefits of legalization, the benefits of ending prohibition right here. This is it. Right fucking here. Legalize it. Like, allow me to buy cannabis. Allow that money to be generated to go to a company that they can then turn around at the end of the year and maybe say, like, yeah, let's give some back to the community that we've been serving all along. Little Collins, like, look at them out there. Like, they're an amazing company, like, and they do very well. Like, and they started in Galway. They've expanded to the Kilkenny. They're now going to Dublin. They're creating jobs in these communities that they go to. Who knows, in times to come, maybe we might have a Little Collins bloody fund there for a college. I don't know, like, just because that's the story I'm dealing with now. Like, but who knows how they might give back to their community in different ways. Maybe they might sponsor a bloody local sports athlete. You know what I mean? There's so many ways in which these companies give back to the communities in which they exist in. Prohibition is preventing that currently. End prohibition and we can improve our communities. Like, I'm sick of saying it. I'm fucking sick of saying it. I'm blue in the face. I'm saying it, like, at this point. So, well then, I suppose in this is the Lake Superior State University. They established the nation's first chemistry program focused on cannabis when they launched the Cannabis Centre of Excellence back in 2019. And the school offers degrees in cannabis chemistry, cannabis production, cannabis science and cannabis business, with the goal of positioning cannabis students or cannabis studies as a national leader of academic inquiry. The programme markets itself as the first in the US to focus on the quantitative analysis of cannabis-related compounds and contaminants, including THC, CBD and terpenes. Then Steadfast Labs, a Michigan-based cannabis research facility with the goal of ensuring access to safe cannabis medicines, has established an annual $1,200 scholarship for cannabis chemistry students at the university. By funding this scholarship, Steadfast Labs again demonstrates their commitment to supporting future chemists who will enter the workforce and provide public safety in the cannabis field. To qualify, applicants must be sophomores or older and have a GPA of 3.0 or higher, and students who live in the Wayne or Oakland counties area that the company services will be also given preference. So there you go. Like this is amazing. This was really highlighting and showcasing the potential that the legal cannabis market has to better our communities. And it's amazing. This is amazing potential, because if one life is changed, if one student is afforded an opportunity to attend a college course that could change the trajectory of their lives, that's just enough. That's just enough. It needn't do any more. It needn't be any more. It doesn't have to be 10. It doesn't have to be 100 lives changed. Just one is enough. Just one life changed for the better because of ending cannabis prohibition is enough in my view. It doesn't have to be hundreds. It doesn't have to be thousands. Just one. So that's it, guys. I will end that 420 news with that headline. So thanks to everybody who's tuned into the show, man. I still see that there's over 50 of you out there tuned in. So thanks very much to each and every one of you. I'm going to start tucking into your comments there now after I just rehydrate a little bit. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Yeah, I see some comments coming in there. Ken Green is saying that a Can statement was ruled out by Boris. Yeah, certainly Boris. Boris is just showing his position. As I say, as if Can comes back with some incredible data there as to the benefits that cannabis legalization would bring in, and Boris is just to ignore that. He's going to ignore experts. He's going to ignore experts. This is just showing you how ignorant these people are willing to be. So that's what I think it'll be a very good thing if it was to come back and it was to be ignored. What are they going to do? Fire Can? They fired Professor David Nutt. Well, guess what? They can't fire Can because he's the mayor. He's an elected mayor. He can hold his position. I hope he does. I hope he goes into the wearing a big bloody weed leaf thing similar to my t-shirt right now. Next time he gets elected, maybe an old hemp suit or something like that. Guys, I just remembered I have a bowl here packed up since the start of the show that I meant to blaze up with you, but I'll blaze into it there now as well as we get into the comments. What's happening out there? I see Greenbeard letting off some comments as well over on YouTube. He says, legalising cannabis is not in the interest of the Garda or the government. Look at the clap on the back they get when there's a big seizure and the propaganda about it. Again, that's what I'm talking about, man. They benefit greatly from this. The statistics, the tweets that they put out, the news headlines, the superintendent then able to go on the news, the RT appearances. Oh, we made a big drug arrest today up in County Limerick, and your man Morris, whatever his name is, that Sinn Féin councillor, and isn't it great now that we're after demolishing this house that the drug dealers were using? The drug dealers have just gone somewhere else, Morris, man. You haven't done anything, you haven't solved anything, it's so annoying, But guys, happy 420 anyway. It's a bit belated, but deliciosa. Oh, Peter Kelly saying we need to start calling it what it is. It's a war on people, not drugs. 100%, man. It is a war on people. It's not a war on drugs at all. The drugs have won it. If anything, the continuation of it, no, it's just a war on people at this stage. 100%, man. Nice one for that comment, Peter. WRT Gunner 43 says you can take a kid to a pub, and as long as they're in the beer garden, they can have a glass of wine and no problems. Man, that's crazy to think. Yeah, you certainly can. And as well, in our legislation, and it actually is in law, that adults, parents can allow their kids to drink at home, as long as the parents are okay with it. That's mad. Excuse me, guys. Other comments, pods. Sorry. Pods for 420 is saying, all you have to do is look at Ireland's biggest exports. Big pharma control this country. Yeah, I do see that as well. We do rely on big pharma a lot for our GDP. All right, we have a lot of exports there from them. But I think, like, if we were like, I suppose they lose out because cannabis is a product that could be offer competition to some of their products, I suppose, in that regard. But really, like, you know, yeah, I can see why they would be against it, all right, like, you know. I just don't see any real evidence of lobbying from big pharma against our government, but I suppose they're good at it. Is that's why I'm not seeing it. Adam O'Brien, what's happening, Adam? He says, I would love to have access to legal cannabis. Legalizing cannabis is never going to happen in Ireland. Adam, man, I think you're wrong, and I think you're very wrong. I think it's certainly going to happen. It's not a case of if, it's a when, and how also. And as I say, I'm very worried about the form of legalization that that might be coming. I don't think it's going to benefit us, i.e., you know, not having the ability to grow the plant ourselves or be limited in that ability too. I don't think that's going to suit us at all. So I do worry about that, but I do think you're wrong there, Adam, man. I do think cannabis legalization is coming, man. It's coming. So just gear up for it, guys. We have to get out there and demand cannabis legalization to be what we want it to be and not what the capitalists want it to be. Adam's also saying our government ministers are anti-anything intelligent. Bitcoin is power is saying they've never stopped us from consuming it, so why let them stop you from growing it? There you go, guys. That's it. Like, as I always said to people before, like, I have a bit of cannabis now, right? And if the cops kick in my door right now, they're justified in doing it. Like, why not just grow my own cannabis? Like, you know, but like, why not? Like, you know, if you're risking having your own cannabis on site, you might as well just grow it yourself. Just grow 1 or 2 plants. It's for your own personal reasons anyway. Like, you know, if you can argue this personal in court, why can't you argue 2 plants personal in court? So grow your own, guys. Literally just grow your own fucking plants and look out for one another. Like, start forming your own little collectives, associations, like your own little grow circles, like where one of you grows a sativa, the other one grows an indica, another one grows a hybrid, and you all trade. That's what we should be doing. We should be all looking out for one another. Like, we shouldn't be bloody supporting these criminal organizations, like, with their overpriced and poor quality cannabis, like, man, with their Cali packs. Fuck off with your Cali packs, man. I've been getting decent cannabis grown here in Ireland, like, and it's trumped all of this Cali shit, like. Even the Cali shit, I wonder, is it just loaded up with terpenes just to taste more powerful, like, you know? I just wonder, like. Other comments out there, guys. John Finnegan, he says, just in, hi all, welcome along to the show, John, man, hope you're doing good. Adam O'Brien says, I already had a conviction for €40,000 worth. I have a young family and not risking prison. Man, that's a kick in the teeth that you got a conviction for it, man, but it's like you only got a conviction for €40,000 worth? Like, that's crazy, man. Did you not have to do prison at all for 40 grand's worth of cannabis? Fair enough, like, but yeah. Yeah, Bitcoin is power is saying just don't grow that many. Just grow 2 plants. Like, that's €1,600 worth that they're going to value it at. Like, I'll always argue it for personal. Go on to the NCOD, find the guidelines there as to how you can set up a grow at home and prove in court that what you were doing is for personal reasons. Like, there's guidelines out there that can be followed. I'm working on a set of them as well myself here that I can hopefully release soon. It's taken a bit longer than I expected. It's not easy. Other comments out there as well, guys. Yeah, I see you're all commenting to each other there as well. I don't want to be reading your conversations out. Adam O'Brien is saying here that he hasn't stopped consuming, but he just has to be careful. He says, I get my stash from a co-worker. I only smoke after work, out my back garden. I drive in the morning to work. If I test positive for cannabis, even through my blood, even though I'm blood sober, yeah, man, that is a big danger for us cannabis consumers, man. If you have a smoke on a Monday night and you go to work on a Tuesday morning, you're going to test positive. Even if you have a smoke on a Friday night and you go to work on a Monday morning, like, you could test positive. Like, you more than likely will test positive. Like, so it's a dodgy one, man. So you do have to be careful. And you're looking for damn as well, man. Let me know when you're going with it or something. We can get Neil Prendeville to come along with us. Monshore Fudge, he's saying, anyone, or annoying is the word for seeing all this pointless fuckery. I find a spliff helps at this point. Yeah, man, that's it. Like, a spliff always helps with the old stress of all these fucking raids. Alright, Gary Hughes is saying, great show, Martin. Thanks very much, Gary, man. Much appreciated, and I'm delighted to have you out there, man. And as I say, I really do look forward to meeting up with you, Gary. Guys, if you don't know, go check out my interview with Gary Hughes. He's owner of and founder of the Chill Rooms in Liverpool. Chill Rooms is a cannabis cafe set up illegally and run illegally by Gary. He's a legend of a man, like, so I was delighted to have him on the podcast, and I hope to meet him in person very soon when he opens the door of the Chilling Rooms again very soon. So I do look forward to that, Gary. Bitcoin is power as well as saying here that he loves the cannabis community and thanks to everyone for making it, and me too, man. I mirror that love as well. I've not met a cannabis consumer out there that I've kind of been able to say like that or a true stoner, for I don't know, a lack of a better word, like, you know, a true stoner, like a cannabis enthusiast, like, you know, I've never really met a bad one, like, you know, not many dickheads, like, you know, where I said, nah, that dude's a cunt, like, you know. I suppose there is, like, there's always an exception to the rule. I just haven't met him yet. Podge as well, he's saying, hey Martin, I hope you're having a nice day, and only popping into you to say keep her lit. We'll watch back later. Nice one to have you along, Podge, man. I'm doing very good, man, and I'm certainly keeping her lit here, bro. And keep him staying blazed too, man. Tony Cleland, what's happening, Tony? He says, any protest being done in County Down for 420 this year? So Tony, man, if you're the only one out there, maybe you can get one going yourself. But if there's anybody out there, guys, touch base with Tony if you're organising something, or if you would like to get something organised. Maybe you can kind of together formulate something. As I say, like a protest, all it takes is one or two of you to go down there with your placards, with your spliffs, with your bongs, with your edibles, whatever you want to bring. Even if it's placards and Bob Marley music, man, that's cannabis culture. Go down there and celebrate it. Go down there and just show people who we are. We're normal people. We're not a threat. That's the most important thing we have to show people, is we are not a threat. Like, we're not dangerous. Like, you know, we don't need to be criminalised and targeted by the Gardaí. That's the most important thing that we need to prove by getting out there and showcasing our community on 420 when fighting for the liberation of this plant. Bitcoin as power is also saying that capsule from earlier is kicking in nicely. Going to work on some art now. Get your existential dance on. Catch you all next time. Good vibes. Enjoy those capsules, man. Those THC capsules that you've been doing. Nice, good stuff. For Grace is saying here, homegrown all the way nicer. Exactly, man. Guys, if you haven't grown your own at home, if you haven't experienced some good homegrown bud, you're missing out, man. Grow your own stuff. You'll be blown away by what you'll be able to achieve. And like, you know what I mean? The best way to learn how to do something is by doing it and failing. You know what I mean? Don't not do it because you're afraid of failing. You know, oh, I might kill my plants. So what? If you kill your plants, well, you learn what not to do, and you won't kill them next time. And go over to the Percy's Grow Room, and you can get all the information you need over there as well, if you don't know. It's a good forum. Got all the information you need about growing. What's happening, Greenbeard as well? He says, my own homegrown is far superior to anything I have to buy on the legacy market. So there you go, guys. Like Greenbeard, like telling you as it is, like, you know, he's a grower himself out there, and there you go. He's own homegrown and he's enjoying it. It's much better than anything you can buy out there on the market at the moment. And as I say, like, I've grown strawberries myself out in my back garden, and I'm telling you, like, there's something about when you grow something yourself, it always tastes nicer. There's just something about it. Like my spuds, I don't know what it was. They just tasted nicer. I don't know, was it just a psychological thing? It just tastes nicer. Even my chicken eggs, man, I give people chicken eggs like all the time, and they're just like, "Oh, that's the best egg I've ever had." Like, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just a psychological thing. I don't know. But yeah, like eggs from the chickens out the back, they are amazing. Way better than store bought. So again, like it must be the same for cannabis. Like from Green Bear, the saying it is too. Um, yeah, so there you go, guys. I'm almost up to date with all your comments, guys, and we're an hour and a half into the show, guys. So much appreciated for all you. The audience is growing as we're going on, like, so. Welcome along if you're only just joining, guys. We're about to sign off there, but the final comments coming in there, so get them in if you want. I'll be around there for maybe one more bong hit, and then I'll sign off. Irish Wanderer saying, Callian Runts, I offer cunts homegrown with seed sprout teas is the only way. Alfalfa, molasses and calcium for veg. Mung beans, molasses and calcium. Epsom salts and banana for flour. There you go, guys, man. The Irish Wanderer, man, you're a man after my own heart. I love what you just said there now, like, because that's all you need. You don't even have to be going out buying these overpriced growing nutrients, like. Now, what you said is a bit more complicated if you're just getting new to gardening. Like, I wouldn't advise you to start off. Maybe actually, yeah, start off there. Maybe, I don't know. It's very messy. It can be a bit, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. It depends on how you do it. But that's the way to do it. Like, literally, getting your comfrey teas and all of that kind of stuff, man. That's the way to go. Like holistic gardening, like that. That's what I like to practice myself out the back garden when growing my own veg, strawberries, potatoes, carrots, you name it. Like all grown in the way in which you're on about there. Like very organic. No bottled nutrients. None of that kind of stuff at all. Catching the chicken manure gets composted, and I got my own compost going too, guys. So it's like, yeah, it's a very complete system going on. Can't wait until I can just add cannabis to it, like. Just packing up a bowl here, guys. Sorry for the distraction and the silence. What's happening for Grace? I see for Grace commented in there as well. He's saying the new hound tester for THC is coming out soon. If you smoke Saturday, it wouldn't show up on Monday. They're bringing it out soon, and that thing I tagged you in earlier. So that's like a breathalyzer that For Grace is talking about there. It's a new handheld device. It's like a breathalyzer, and they're releasing it soon. I don't think that's going to be coming in Ireland. Like, I don't think we'll see that in Ireland for quite a while. That was an article up in High Times, so I think that's only relevant to maybe Canada or America in those regions there for the time being. But if it does take off over there, yeah, we could see something like a handheld breathalyzer here. Outside of that one, so I hope what that will do then maybe for at the testing site would be speed it up. I didn't really look into the article as to see the process, but it looks like you just blow into it similar to that of an alcohol one, so I'd imagine you get the result back as well as in a similar time. That's my biggest issue with the current test for the saliva, where they swab your mouth. Takes 15 to 20 minutes for the results to come back. So you have to sit there at the side of the road for 15 to 20 minutes to wait for a positive or negative result from a saliva test at the side of the road. That's bollocks, man. You should be able to opt out for that. Like, I ain't got 15 to 20 minutes to waste, man. Time is money. Like, life is short. So, yeah. Nice one for that tag as well, actually, earlier. I appreciate that. Bob Marley, what's happening, Bob? Bob Marley, a viewer of the show. Who would have thunk it? We got some Gorilla Glue autos and G13 Haze. Bring on the lockdown. Man, that's one thing about the lockdown. At the start of the lockdown, I was talking to the guys at the grow shop, and they were blown away. They were like, there's some amount of people growing now. There's so many more people growing now. So like, if you're not after starting yet, like, just know that you're not alone, like, when you do start. And it's a needle in a haystack. Like, literally, the guards could do a raid every day they could probably do 2 or 3 raids every day for the next 2 or 3 years and still be nowhere near at the end of the amount of people that are growing, you know. There's so many of you out there, like, and the guards, they haven't a hope of catching you all. Just don't tell anybody what you're doing, you know what I mean? Nobody, you don't trust anybody, like, you know, loose lips sink ships, like that, and all that sort of stuff, like. Hemp-fed chickens, is it? No, I actually, I have fed them hemp seeds from time to time, all right. But it's flax seeds actually. I like to try to get a bit more of out there for them. But hemp seed is another really good one as well. But it's just not cost effective. Neither is flax seed either, really, for that matter. That they increase it in the feed. I just supplement it in order to get up the omega-3 content in the eggs. But look, that's just crazy old me and some of my thinking looking at scientific studies. But yeah, like that has been shown. Feed of supplemented with flax seeds increases omega-3 content of eggs. And that's also been shown recently with hemp seeds as well, like that chickens fed a supplemented diet of hemp seeds improves the nutritional content of those chickens' eggs. So yeah, and I would love to see what would happen if we were to maybe feed chickens more hemp that has things like CBD and stuff like that. Would we be seeing cannabinoids present now in our eggs then? Because eggs, again, a nice fatty source of food. But if our chickens are being fed a diet rich in compounds such as CBD and stuff like that from the hemp plant, the cannabis plant, would that translate over to our diet? And is that something that's missing from our diet from an age gone by? Do you know, hundreds of years ago, when hemp was a very prevalent crop right across the world, where it was used for feedstock, animals were fed hemp, a lot of them, and a lot of hemp too. And I wonder, like, you know, what was the quality of that meat? Like, if we tested that meat, like, would that meat have contained cannabinoids? Was that meat more nutritious for us as humans? Are we missing out on this? This is why there's so many people out there who are currently who are suffering from cannabinoid deficiencies. I just wonder, like, you know, there's food for thought, like. Got me all packed up here anyway, guys, so I'll get your comments in anyway if you want it to be read out. Vincent, he says, grew some veg last year myself, definitely tastes better. There you go, guys. If you haven't grown your own yet, get out there and do it. If you start with cannabis, guys, before you know it, you're going to be growing everything, because cannabis is a gateway drug, not to other drugs, but to other vegetables. And it's only a gateway if you start growing it, because you just start thinking to yourself, well, if I can grow cannabis, well, surely I'll just start growing my own herbs like parsley, sage, and thyme, and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, this is easy. uh, Onshore Fudge, BioBiz organic all the way. Yeah, BioBiz do have an organic line as well, man. So yeah, there is good feed companies out there. But I suppose my opinion of those, while they are convenient, you're paying for convenience. I think that's what you're paying for. But you're also paying for the transportation of water. But look, to each their own. I'm not against it. Like, bottled nutrients are great if you work with the right company. BioBiz are one good one, Playground are another good one. But there's a number of good ones out there, all right, that could be worked with. Irish Wanderer saying go with Canna nutrients, bio range, you won't go wrong. I grow a veg myself. Tomatoes do be lovely organically grown. There you go. And actually, I think don't the Canna, they've even got like a veganic range where they've like got vegan friendly nutrients, where there's no animal byproducts used in the production of the nutrient feed. Interesting enough, that's just a little useless information for you out there. Maybe useful if you're a vegan and wanted to grow vegan cannabis. Can you achieve that? Like, I wonder, like, I don't know, vegan cannabis. Like, is there a market for vegan cannabis out there? Like, very niche, I'd say. Like, tell me, guys, are you vegan? Do you care if your cannabis was grown using chicken poo or worm poo or fish and blood bone? Is that what it's called? Yeah, fish and blood bone. Those kind of things, like, you know, does that bother you? I'm curious. I might do a poll. Do a poll someday. Like, you know, how many vegans would like to consume vegan cannabis? They'll be looking for vegan cocaine then next. John Finnegan is saying Aunt Martin and his stone chickens. Does that mean that they produce fried eggs? Man, yeah, that's it. Irish Wanderer saying, don't use your own piss. We carry stuff you don't want. All we get alfalfa sprouts, seed sprout. Sprout them, blend them with water, give them 2 weeks. You've liquid urea plus trichotonal. All plants love it. Yeah, there you go, guys. So seed sprout tea, so SST, is an acronym for it, used out there. If you want to learn about that, that's just one of many. You have alfalfa. You could use things like barley. You could even use other seeds there for sprouting. What's another one? There's so many. I think like even watermelon seeds, like they can be used. And as well for clones, like you could use things like aloe vera gel for cloning. There's so many useful things out there you could be using, like yeah. But look, we won't go down there. That's a show for another day. Might get the boys from the grow room and again from the High and Homegrown podcast on for just to talk about growing cannabis again someday maybe. Onshore fudge, what a comment. Cannabis deficiency, man. There's so many people out there currently suffering from cannabis deficiencies. There certainly is, and I feel like I'm suffering from one now. Possibly experiencing a cannabis overdose as well with this cottonmouth, man. It's terrible, these cannabis overdoses, aren't they? I better cure my overdose. Wouldn't it be great if all overdoses were so easy to cure? The negative side effects of cannabis: cottonmouth, a dry mouth, the horrors. Sorry, guys. Billy Bertrand, any tips for blocking heat from pig helicopters? Yeah, definitely invest in a good tent. You can get good tents that will have like those it'll be made of certain material anyway that'll be able to block out the penetration of those heat seeking kind of the things. But basically you can have an issue then though, like is that'll do. I won't be able to detect the heat within that tent. But if the entire room then around that tent is warm outside of the rest of the thing, you might have issues there. Like, so it's not completely foolproof yet. Those helicopters are pesky ones, man. So yeah, you just have to hope for the best, really. Like, and don't be growing too big. That's another thing. Like, if you just have one light, then you shouldn't really have too much of a worry there about the helicopters, as long as it's in a tent, as I say, one of those protected tents that keep in that light that they're able to detect from the helicopters with their the infrared. That'll keep in the heat. Ken Green says, best smoke I ever had was my own. Been many places around the world, like the damn Barcelona, but nothing would touch my blue cheese. Man, that sounds good. I would love to have tried your blue cheese, man. If you ever got something going again, give me a shout and we'll meet up and we'll have to try out some of the old product. Irish Wanderer says, Biobuzz don't tell you everything though. It's still all nitrates, leaves a harsh taste on most flowers. Interesting, guys. Yeah, I haven't tried much of Canna stuff now at all myself. My own grower, that I know of, he uses advanced nutrients, and yeah, I don't have any complaints anyway. But I would love to be getting a living soil grow going myself. If I was allowed to out my back garden in there with me veg and me tomatoes and all of that stuff as well, like, you know. Yeah, other comments coming in there. John Finnegan, he says, I have a serious case of cannabis deficiency today, man. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I wish I was able to help you out. Greenbeard is saying bubble foil insulation is great for keeping heat sigs down. There you go. That is a good one, actually. Bubble foil insulation. So again, getting yourself a good tent and then just placing that bubble foil insulation all around it. Or if you're in an outdoor environment, if you're growing in a shed or something out there like that, you would insulate the shed with that bubble foil layer, and then you would grow away inside in the shed, and that would sort that one out as well. So a nice one for that, Greenbeard, as well, for reminding me of that one, the bubble foil insulation. That's a good way of doing it as well. So nice one. There you go. The community looking out for one another, guys. And I'm almost at the end of your comments there as well, guys. So I will be signing off shortly because the show is just going on for way too long. Billy Burndred, he says, yeah, I've seen them, just expensive at the moment, and I have a hairy dog, so would have to be enclosed. And Shiting in the Bucket, he says, can you grow the stuff no dug in straw? Can you grow the stuff no dug in straw? How do you mean no dug in straw, man? Um, yeah, I'm not too sure what you meant there with the no dug in straw. Or can you do anything with straw? Well, there is people who kind of use that. There has been grows done where you can like use straw as an inert nutrient, kind of like coca cola is used, and you kind of have to treat it then like a hydroponics, where you have to constantly drip feed water through it. But I don't think it's the greatest way to do it, to be honest. From what I can tell. Also as well, if you mix straw in with your soil, the straw can cause a nitrogen deficiency in the soil. It can rob nitrogen from the soil as it's breaking down, robbing the plant of that nitrogen. So straw can be used as a cover though, to prevent water loss, prevent evaporation. So if you had like a pot, or if you have an area, you can put soil, or you can put straw over it, and you put straw over it, and that will prevent evaporation, helping reduce the amount of water then that you actually have to use for your crop, improving your water use efficiency. There you go, man. No-till soil. Is that what you meant? No-till soil? That's what Greenbeard is saying there as well. No-till soil. That's a very good one as well. That's one I like. I like that practice. And it ties in with the living food web that goes on there. Like, you don't want to disrupt that. And when you till your soil, you kill off a lot of your fungi and some bacteria even, because like you're turning it over and you're exposing it to an environment what it's not normally exposed to. So you can have sunlight hitting it. You're killing off like populations of bacteria and fungi that might never re-establish itself. At least that's the idea behind the no-till soil growing, where you don't disrupt that fucking food web that you're establishing in there, that you just constantly just keep on refeeding into it. And what that does over time then as well is that actually is like a regenerative form of agriculture, at least it seems to be, where it builds the organic content over time that's actually present in that soil, especially when it's done in an outside environment on a larger scale. But even homegrown growers, though, even on the indoor scale, have been doing this using large grow beds. I've been following a few grow forums and groups, and I really love the Grow Cashy Probiotic kind of Farmers Alliance. That's one group out there, and I love the work that they're doing out there, and I utilise that stuff in my own garden, out the back garden, for my vegetables, incorporating probiotics, and really working with the fungi and the microbes, the bacteria, all of that stuff that's out there, because that's what's really feeding your plants. Not you. You're not feeding your plants. Like, it's those guys. Those guys are feeding your plants, the microbes, the fungi, the nutrients. Like, that's what makes my strawberries taste so great. Like, you know, and my poppies. Like, it's not me. It's the fungi. It's the bacteria. It's those other living organisms out there working together in the soil food web is what it's called, if you want to do more research in it. But again, here I go. Look, another 5 minutes spent just chatting away, and I hope you enjoyed that little bit there, guys. But I'll keep waffling on, so I'm gonna have to get off, because I actually got to go and tend to me back garden out there. I have to collect me chicken eggs and sort out a bit of me chores around the house, so I have to go sort that stuff out. But guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to bring the show to you. John Finnegan is saying, I'm now taking applicants from people to test their homegrown products. All products will be personally tested and results will be forthcoming. Contact my pussy puck page. Legend. Go on, John, you legend. Monshore Fudge is saying, we need a Martin's World Forum with your help, pal. Not a bother at all, lads. I would gladly have that. Miss Dowes as well is saying, would love to try living soil sometime. I'm the same as well. I would really love to. I've seen some grows done over in America and Canada from some people who are able to grow outdoors and really utilize what is the living soil, the food web. Because it's difficult to do indoors. As I say, some people have done it, but it's been difficult for them to achieve it. But the outdoor, like the big greenhouses like that, that's where it's really at, like. And man, I would really love to try that, like, because what I've been seeing, like, from even lab tests, like, it seems that the fucking terpene profiles of the living soil growing cannabis, like, it's off the charts, like that's what it seems like, is that's what it looks like, that it's really out competing like some of the more conventionally grown cannabis out there, like that the living soil stuff where the microbes and all of that stuff, it's much more richer in the soil, that ends up producing a much more lush product at the end, like where it just has more terpenes, more of those more bio, or those compounds anyway that you're after in cannabis, like not the THC, not the CBD. It's the more smaller metabolites, the micro metabolites. They're just more prevalent, the more known. So it's very interesting, like, it's just like I can't wait to explore this stuff once prohibition is lifted. Like that's research that could be done, because again, like some of these terpenes, these impart some of the beneficial effects of the cannabis, or they improve the beneficial effects of the cannabis, and we need to know how we can actually improve the production of these terpenes then in the cannabis plants, like to maximize it, like, and we can only do that through proper research. We're not going to be able to do that with your closet grows and stuff like that. Like, no, it's proper large scale grows that'll get this stuff done. Yeah. Other comments there. Greenbeardy says, we have some growers doing this with success indoors in tents, Martin. Twisted One has a great one going. I'll have to look that one up. Twisted One, so that's over on the Percy's grow room, yeah? I'll go and check that out there as well, and anyone else who wants to check that out too. That's Percy's grow room. WRT Gunner, he says, from what I understand, at least 15 gallons for indoor living soil, at least, yeah, minimum, like, yeah, larger the better, is kind of what I understand about that. And Greenbeard as well, man, you're a legend there for that super chat, much appreciated. He says, 3 evergreen trees. Will you do a podcast on living soil? I would actually love to. I would love to do more podcasts, actually more focused on the growing of cannabis maybe very soon, and I might reach out to some of the contacts I have made over time through those different groups that I've been following, to see if some of them will come and talk to me about the work that they're doing where it is legal. So hopefully that they shouldn't have any issues with that. So yeah, guys, I'll certainly try to fulfill that request there. Nice one for that, Jack. Greenbeard also saying sorghum is a great living soil to try. The grow shop in Henrietta Place in Dublin have it. So there you go. Sorghum is a great living soil to try. If anybody out there wants to get their hands on it, you'll get it up in the Henrietta Place in Dublin. So there you go, guys. Other comments, Mustafa is he spotted it yesterday. And it's a savage spot, all right. And Alter Ego says, are you loading that bowl again, Martin? Feck it. Well, you know what? Why not? Like, why not? I'm going out into the garden anyway, like, and guess look, I still see a bit of sunshine out there, guys. So yeah, I'm certainly going to blaze up one more, guys. But why the hell not? Well, what's another 4 minutes and 20 seconds gonna mean? Billy Burden saying, why live soil? So live soil, again, just to go back, is the living soil food web. It's the idea that, like, we as a grower are not feeding the plant. So rather than trying to work with bottled nutrients to deliver nutrients to the plants, you're actually working with the fungi and the bacteria and the microbes in the soil, and you're actually caring for them, in order for them to care for your plant, in order to get that kind of circular thing going, because there is a beneficial relationship going. But also then working with more wholesome kind of products, such as the sprouted CTs that were mentioned there earlier. These are going to impart a much less of a harmful effect then on those living soil kind of systems to the system that goes on there. It's going to kill off less of them because they're less harmful, I suppose, more natural. So that's the idea, that's the thinking behind it anyway. So that's the idea with it, and then that in turn is supposed to improve then the quality of the cannabis that's produced. And again, it's just better for the earth. It's better for the planet. Like that's I suppose the real reason of it. But that bowl is packed up there anyway, by the way, guys. So I will sign off on this one, guys, because I'll never get my gardening done otherwise. Billy says, I've heard live rosin is fresh, sticky buds turned into rosin straight away, but what's the difference? Well, rosin actually, funnily enough, and it is a technique that comes from the pressing of pine needles for getting a wax for violin strings. I believe that's what the wax is used for. So that's where that process comes from. It wasn't originally used for cannabis, so where they would use high temperatures with high pressure to extract a resin from pine needles, and they would use that then. I can't believe, I think it was something to do with violins. I think it was to do with the violin strings. I can't remember. But that's where that comes from. But what they do then is they take cannabis. It doesn't have to be fresh cannabis. It can be all sorts of cannabis. They even make rosin from hash. Some of the best rosin actually comes from hash, and they can make it in all forms. But the main principles of rosin are heat and temperature. Heat and temperature are the same thing. Heat and pressure. Heat and pressure, that's the main principles of, and time, I suppose, as well. Three of those, they're the main principles of the rosin technique, to extract what are the resins then from those plant materials. So that's what it is there for rosin. So I hope that might have taught somebody something out there. But I'm going to blaze this one up anyway, guys. Much love. Not a bother at all, Billy. So guys, with that, stay blazed and keep her lit. Peace.